We got a timer up. Hello, in seasons beatings, pro wrestling fans. Welcome to the awesomely named and awfully presented Exploding Barbed Wire Deathcast, brought to you by the Cheap Heat Heroes. And so, what's the catch? And you know what, guys? We actually have some pretty cool stuff to talk about tonight. Today on the panel, we got Rollins, Boss, LaFuron, Volkner, and Bruv Chacho, the aptly named Bruv Chacho. And we're going to start it off talking about New Japan specifically, not just New Japan, United Japan Pro Wrestling. You guys ever heard of that? I'm guessing no. In a historically precedented move, almost all of Japan's major players and pro wrestling promotions have agreed to unite 8 companies: New Japan, All Japan, Pro Wrestling Noah, DDT, Game Bear, Big Japan, Dragon Gate, Stardom, and Tokyo Yoshi. I try to spit that out all cohesively as well. They have all decided to join in sharing resources, talents, funding, and have agreed to contribute further to the cultural and sporting sectors of Japanese wrestling industries. What does that mean? A lot of people refuse this as facts, but sources within New Japan, All Japan, and DDT have all disclosed that it was to keep Western promotions from expanding into Japan, specifically NXT. I mean, this is the biggest piece of news for global wrestling fans, anyone that shares in the entire art form. Rollins, what do you got to chime in on this one?
So the reason I didn't watch the first Forbidden Door pay-per-view was because I just don't follow New Japan. So wasn't familiar with any of the names, but I came around on the second one and I'm like, okay, I'll watch it. And I ended up watching it with C-Boss and a couple of our other buddies. And it was a great time. And I learned about Will Ospreay and the IWGP champion at the time, Sonata, um, and some of the other people. So I like this because it means we're going to keep that partnership between New Japan and the other Japanese companies with AEW. So that means we get more Forbidden Door pay-per-views. That means I, as a AEW fan, get to learn about more Japanese talent. And what's not to like about that?
This is purely a move to keep NXT because there have been tensions building for a while due to talent poaching by the WWE of Japanese stars. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe there was investigations of contract tampering in 2018 surrounding WWE and Stardom. I don't know if there's any validity to that. I do remember something came out about it, but I don't know if it's like 100% true or not. But this is a move to keep, the WWE out of Japan. LaFuron, you got anything more?
It did surprise me when the announcement was made. I remember on our little Discord corner of the world, we all discussed why Will Ospreay signed so early to AEW. It's like, there's all the rumors. It's like, well, he's contracted until February, and I was convinced that he was staying. I mean, the entire year long angle with Kenny Omega seemed to be to officially pass the torch as Kenny Omega's hand-picked Gaijin successor. So that when it was revealed that Will had signed 3 months early, it was like, oh, okay. And it did very much smell like New Japan couldn't afford to keep him. So they had a word with Tony Khan and make good on their relationship. It's like, well, pick him up instead to stop him going to WWE. Because, there've always been rumbles about WWE trying to do some stuff. But then they made this announcement and specifically cited, to keep Western organizations out. And I was like, oh, this is big. this is very big. Because I remember when I first went to university in the late 90s, formed a very good friendship with a guy who was massively into wrestling, and we were like tape trading back then, and we were watching absolutely everything, and we were there when Noah was created, and even now I can't believe how much of a coup it was when Masawa staged such a big walkout to form Noah. And it's like the Japanese promotions are never going to get along. It's always going to be tensions. It's going to be just as bad as Mexico. And then this was announced, and it's like, oh, okay. The WWE must be making serious inroads, or at least trying to. And if they can't make inroads, they're going to steal all the decent talent if everyone gets along. And it is literally everyone. So, yeah, it's a big deal. It's a big deal. Hopefully, we in the West will benefit from it. It's like when the specific wording of keeping the essentially Western companies out, I was like, but what about AEW? Because they get on really well, and then obviously CMLL get on really well with New Japan as well. So it seems to be purely to keep the Fed away, and that's fine, because then hopefully the Forbidden Door gets busted open into the Forbidden Archway, and we can see Noah talent coming over and getting involved. As more stuff from DDT get Stardom and Tokyo Joshi Pro involved. If they're all one big umbrella now, then bust that Forbidden Door open even more. It'd be fantastic. But big deal that they put their differences aside to fight a common enemy. Big deal indeed.
Well, welcome to the podcast, Volkner. Go ahead and let us know what you feel about all that.
Kind of covered everything there, man. I do think this does open up potential stronger working relationships with AEW, maybe even TNA. They have a decent relationship with New Japan. So does it allow for more talent from other venues to come to AEW possibly? We'll see.
I'm going to be honest. I don't know anything about Japanese wrestling, but I like seeing unity. I believe that you can have competition because competition is good for business, but you can also do it in a united way. You don't have to constantly have a war or fight with people or anything like that. So I'm glad to see it. WWE is definitely someone that I can understand why they want to keep away, because you cannot trust those guys. So, yeah, I would like to see more unity in the West as well, in North America. That'd be nice amongst the big companies.
Well, is this one of the signs of the apocalypse? Everyone in Japan unifies. Honestly, if AAA and CMLL put their differences behind them, I think that's a sign of the apocalypse. It'd be a good apocalypse, perhaps.
The biggest sign of the apocalypse is if the Fed stops being so stubborn and actually wants to work with everyone.
That won't happen. That's
well,
never
that's not a
happen.
sign of the apocalypse. That is the apocalypse.
See, boss, I hate
that
to
won't
tell
happen
you.
until the entire McMahon lineage is dead.
There you go. That's the problem, Mr. McMahon.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, the lineage now includes the idiotic daughter and doofus son-in-law.
But
yeah, I mean, it goes without saying. A lot of this is a product of how the Fed has run and how it projects that it runs. What we know as fans is probably limited in comparison to what the truth is, but the Fed denies that other promotions exists while simultaneously paying troll farms and news outlets to front run their whatever they have going on. And then they're contract poaching with everyone behind the scenes. We saw that firsthand in AEW. We know Io Sky is a product of this. We know Dragon Lee is a product of this. We know that Shinsuke Nakamura is a product of this. Even
AJ
some of those
Styles.
guys. Yeah, AJ came over of his own volition, and we don't know anything about the ROH guys. There was all that controversy with the ROH around the time those guys defected over to the Fed. That's a who's to say. I could look at the roster right now and tell you, what we know. But I mean, what does this mean for Japanese pro wrestling? They announced their first major event as of March the 6th, where they're going to have all 8 of these promotions working together. Is this going to be a conglomerate? Are they going to be running their promotions together, or like it's one promotion, or are they still going to operate on their own little islands and deal with things on an individual basis?
that's what I'm wondering also, is like, are they going to combine all their championships together, and we're just going to get like the IWGP World Championship, the IWGP World Women's Championship, and whatever other IWGP championships there are? Again, excuse me, but I don't know a lot about New Japan, but I know there's the IWGP World Champion and the IWGP Women's World Champion. So is it going to be that like they all form together, or
I,
are
That would be
I-
one hell of a bloated roster right there.
Yeah, you're talking about 8 promotions that have at least 100 to 200 talents per promotion. I was alluding more to the idea of like, are we going to get United Championship belts, one belt that can be shared
that's kind
across
of what I
all,
was saying?
yeah, all 8 promotions. I don't think they're going to streamline one, championship for all 8. I mean, then you're talking about 600 to 700 talents going after it. It's going to look more bloated than AEW before Collision, you know. So, what do you guys think about that?
And also with the other thing is both Pro Wrestling Yoshi and Stardom are, if to my knowledge, are comprised solely of women,
Yeah.
right? So
That's where Mercedes Moné is, if I'm not mistaken.
Kind of.
Kind of.
kinda.
She's
She
kind of in like
was, but
women's pro
Yeah, she
wrestling
was.
limbo right now.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of where she lives. So, which is something
She's
obviously we
free
might talk,
agency, injured, whatever you want to talk about it.
yeah, we might talk about her again tonight. It depends on how one of our segments go, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
Yep.
Yeah, WWE better.
Jesus North.
And,
Jesus
God.
Wolf.
Well,
Jesus.
South Korea has a huge pro wrestling presence.
Yeah.
One of the biggest, the biggest actually. It is legitimately the biggest pro wrestling event in known history. Took place in South Korea with WCW back in 19.
It was in North Korea.
Was that in North
they
Korea?
did one in North Korea. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, and
is that
there is
93, 92?
They had 160,000 people there, most of which were forced to be there
Yep.
by the government.
So let me ask you guys.
Still the highest number for a pay-per-view, though.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
let
that
me
kind
ask you
of
guys.
cheapens that for
Hey,
me.
it counts.
Take the
Numbers are numbers,
live
man.
the biggest live attendance ever. Take that all in London.
I know. Right?
Yeah, we chose to go. We
There are
chose
six.
to go.
The Fed goes, there are 6,000 people working that event. Tell that to WCW in the early 90s.
So let me ask you guys a question. Do you think that we've had 2 Forbidden Doors and they've both been in North America? Do you think that this new partnership between all 8 of the Japanese promotions could lead to a Forbidden Door pay-per-view in Tokyo or somewhere in Japan?
Yeah, they already have one. It's called Wrestle Kingdom.
Yep.
Yeah.
I
Forbidden Door is still very much an AEW event.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
That's
So-
what I mean. Like, I
I
know
mean-
it's an AEW event, but could you ever
I
see
mean,
it taking place
well,
in Japan?
Up until this merger was announced, it's not exactly a merger; it's more of a conglomerate, isn't it?
Yeah.
A Saibatsu, if you will. But up until that was announced, I could conceivably see a Forbidden Door taking place in Japan. It's kind of only fair, really. But I think that would depend on what sort of storylines and talent pool there was over on the Japanese side of things. Because it's great to see New Japan talent in an AEW ring, but all the angles, all the stories were still very AEW centric. If it was swung the other way, so it was more Japanese, it's more NJPW centric, I could see the event taking place over there. Now, I don't know. I don't think you're going to end up with like one, big massive lump of Japanese wrestling. They're all going to operate independently, but they're going to take a consolidated front to protect their mutual interests. As a result, NJPW and AEW will still do their thing. They will still have a Forbidden Door, and it will still be an AEW-centric one. But the possibility does open up for other members of the Japanese group to come over as well. But I think an actual Forbidden Door in Japan is possibly been pushed back a little more, given the thing, because it's going to be a little bit hypocritical one could say. That's like, yes, we have unified as an 8-pointed star of protection against the evils of the West. Fed. Oh,
Yeah.
welcome AEW Western Company to do a cross promotional event over in Tokyo. I don't think that will fly politically anytime soon.
Yeah, the Fed would catch on and then push even harder to get that NXT Japan, which is what we don't want.
Well, I mean, maybe all of this pushback against whatever the Fed has done or is doing might actually force them to learn how to cooperate with other promotions as opposed to trying to shit in their backyard and not clean it up. I mean, that's more, I could say fantasy. It's a fantasy ideology, but I mean, it's something, God, that this pro wrestling fandom would probably love to see. You know, I don't think the forbidden door hinges are ever coming off at WWE. I think we're never going to see that. So
No, they're locked, cursed, and sealed.
fair. Well,
It would kill for some of those matches, though.
yeah,
Kenny Omega versus Seth Rollins.
Oh
guys,
my god!
guys,
it's already
you guys,
happened.
You know,
I want it
what'd
again.
be, you know what would be a good match? WWE superstar CM Punk versus AEW
Hey, get out!
star Hangman Adam Page.
Get out!
Go. I'm
No,
just
man.
I'm gonna
Honestly,
remove you
give me-
from this stage just for that comment.
Yeah.
I want to see Cody versus Anthony Ogogo. I think that would be good.
Cody would be a great guy to face Chris Jericho.
No, I want to see Cody fight his wife.
Oh, I don't want to.
Didn't
No
that-
domestic abuse.
That already
Honestly, in all
didn't
seriousness,
that happen
give me
behind the scenes?
Give
We've
me
already got
pre-
Dana White and his wife.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
God.
that.
They're bouncing all over the place. I hear you.
Still waiting for that to be announced for UFC 300.
Jesus Christ. Fear
in,
on
all,
you.
se- in all seriousness, give me
Yeah.
pre-leukemia Roman Reigns versus Kenny Omega.
Oh yeah, that's.
Ooh.
I mean, I'm sure anyone would just be happy to see post leukemia Roman Reigns wrestling. So
I'd like to see personally. I'd like to see Roman Reigns versus Samoa Joe again.
They had a really good match at Backlash a couple of years ago.
That's why.
I just had a thought. Would modern day Roman Reigns versus super babyface Cena be Invisible Man versus Invisible Stan 2? Because you can't see either of them.
oh, nice. All right.
Roman Reigns didn't Roman face Big Cass?
Yeah.
No.
He must.
He's a
He
different
probably did.
wrestler now, though, man. Big Bill's
He
looking
can't
good.
touch
Yeah, Big Bill can actually cut a good
He's
promo.
looking
we
really
go.
good now.
Yes.
You guys just sold me the segue. We're gonna move on to the next topic, which is AEW talk. Thank you.
You're
we
welcome, buddy.
C2 results as of now. I'm not gonna go into match details. I'll let you guys hash that shit out. But the C2 was big yesterday. We had wins from Mark Briscoe, Jay White, and Swerve Strickland. This eliminates everyone except for White, Mox, and who ate a devastating loss. And Swerve, big weekend for the Blue Division as well. Are we going to get Danielson, Andre, Eddie, or Claudio? Discuss.
Please not Eddie.
No, we're not doing that here.
Now, I can't wait for this triple threat match next week in Orlando. Swerve Strickland versus John Moxley versus Jay White. This is Tony Khan once again giving us a pay-per-view quality match on free television.
Oh, you missed a word there. You missed a word.
You missed a word, buddy. Go say the whole thing over again. Do it from scratch.
On free what?
Free
Free-
television.
No. What free what television?
Cable television.
Get the
Okay.
fuck out of here. Let him speak. Poor Rollins. He's used to getting beaten up. That's my job. Leave him alone.
Yeah, what did I do? They just
Hey, I'm the one who went to college with him.
That sounds awful. I meant college, not you guys going together.
Both were. Nah, I'm joking.
Shut up,
Go,
C-Boss.
go ahead, Rollins.
But the fact that we're gonna get this match, personally, I would give the win to Jay White because over Moxley and Swerve, because we'll get into the Swerve stuff a little later, but it's clear they have other plans involving a certain world champion for Swerve. So I like him going down that angle. And Moxley, I get it. He's a big name in Japan. You can give him the ROH World Championship, but why would you take Jon Moxley off of AEW programming and stick him on Ring of Honor? I don't love that. Whereas Jay White, that makes a lot more sense to me.
Yeah, the C2 this week was really, really good. The one thing I'm upset about is there hasn't been a draw. Tony Khan, you introduced the concept of a time limit draw in a tournament. You gotta use it. You can't just say, like, oh, hey, there's this rule that's like, oh, time limit draw, and then not give us a single one. That's kind of
Stupid.
defeats the whole point of having the time limit draw in the first place. But yes, I do believe that Jay White is the one that is going to go over in the Gold League, because Swerve is going to go after MJF, go after the world title, which was the plan for him, which I believe should have been the plan for him the entire time, and why he took that loss to Mox.
I'm still pissed about that match.
That match was sweet.
This match is great.
That match was sweet.
He's
Yeah.
pissed about the result.
Exactly.
But
What did you think about Jay Lethal going winless?
That's the main reason why I'm upset about the whole time limit draw thing. You had the perfect opportunity to do it with Mark Briscoe versus Jay Lethal. Neither man willing to give the other an inch out of respect. And then you just have Mark Briscoe go over clean in kind of a flat finish. It kind of was kind of meh.
Well, we were clearly watching different matches then. We've clearly been watching different tournaments. Because just because there is a draw result for points doesn't automatically mean you have to do it. It's not a gimmick to work in. It's part of the sports presentation, if you want to put it down that way. I mean, it's standard round robin rules. The story of the Gold League has the Gold League has been a bracket of two stories. You have down the bottom end, you have three stories. You've got Mark Briscoe's self-confessed rookie year as a singles guy, which is why all of his post-match promos have still been very upbeat. He's like, I've been a tag wrestler for 20 years. This is my rookie league in singles. Whatever comes will come. I'm going at it. You've then got Jay Lethal, who since the very first match has been looking over his shoulder, looking for his posse. He's been so used to slumming it and cheating it with Double J and Karen and Sanjay and Satnam. He's now got to go alone, and he's gone an entire tournament bracket on his own and not scored a single point. That, to me, very much feels like leading into a story of self-reflection and redemption. To realize, I mean, they alluded to it in their joint promo last week. Mark Briscoe saying, "Why are you still slumming it with them? I know you." So I can very much see this tournament setting up a story for a Jay Lethal solo run to find himself, maybe go face again, but certainly break away from the shackles of Jeff Jarrett. The other half of the tournament is three of the very best in the company. They are all level pegging. They are all equal, which is why it's been booked in such a way that they've all come out with not only with 12 points, but also they've all beaten each other in such a way that this overly convoluted, only ever mentioned twice, tiebreaker win also doesn't work. So they have to go to a three-way. I mean, I know you said you're pissed at the finish of Mox Swerve Rollins, but that was entirely the point. Your outrage is, in my opinion, entirely misplaced because it's one aspect to a grander story. Mox had to cheat to beat Swerve, and made a point of it in his post-match promo, saying, in order for you to be the best, you have to learn to accept a loss, however that loss comes. By contrast, Swerve said, "I have made my career coming back from losses like this. All you have done is made me better." So we've got that dodginess going on, but now Jay White is now beating Moggs, but Swerve beat Jay, so it's truly deadlocked. So those have been the three stories of the entire Gold League. Now I would agree with Seaboss and agree with you, Rollins, that I think this is Jay winning the Gold League because you then have seeds planted for Mox and Swerve. Because honestly, before I think Swerve can credibly go after the world title, be it MJF or whatever, he has to go through Mox. Mox is the end boss. Mox is the ace. And however much of a run Swerve is on at the minute, and however over and fantastic he is in the grand scheme of things, why should a guy who won a bloody death match and has only been over for a month, well, over to this degree, to a month, suddenly get slotted into the title picture? He's still working his way up, and he has to go through the final boss before he can get a title shot. So I think that's where the cheating's come in. They're setting up for after the C2. On top of that, I'm not particularly happy with seemingly how the Blue League is booked, but I have a sneaking suspicion that the final at the pay-per-view is going to be Jay White versus Eddie Kingston. And Jay White's going over to avenge his loss and getting kicked out of NJPW at Eddie Kingston's hands. Also, Eddie can then go get his back sorted out, but you know. But yeah, the Gold League booking has made perfect sense to me. Made perfect sense, and it's been great. every single match in the Gold League has been fantastic.
What about Andrade though, LaFuron? Doesn't he have a chance to possibly win the Blue League if things go his way?
Well, if he beats Eddie, then he qualifies for the semis. But since the minute Eddie rocked up and put both of his titles on the line to make it a Triple Crown, the entire thing felt like it was actually Eddie's idea, as the NGPW fan that he is, to create a Triple Crown and to then relinquish his titles in the most grandiose way possible so he can go and get his back done. I would be very surprised if Eddie wins it, because he's nursing some big injuries. So the whole thing felt like this was a tournament storyline built up around to lose his titles in a big way.
But I'm asking you about Andrade though. Why can't he possibly win the Blue League?
Because he's losing to Eddie Kingston. And then Eddie Kingston has the tie-break win over Andrade, which then breaks them being tied on 9. If Andrade beats Eddie Kingston, then fine. You know, my preferences and my fantasy booking is nonsense, as it usually is. But the Blue League, if this comes to fruition and the Blue League is booked in such a way that Eddie Kingston fights from behind to qualify, then the Blue League booking's been a little bit suspect. So Andrade's been pushed hard and he's on 9. If he's going through and Kingston still qualifies, he beats Kingston to go to 12 points and Kingston still qualifies with 6, which I don't think he can. That is everyone else in the tournament has to shit the bed. So I don't know. I don't know where Blue League is going. I really don't. I would like it to ultimately be Eddie Kingston and Bryan Danielson. And then Kingston finally gets his win over Danielson, only to lose to Jay White. That's where I would like it to go. But I have no clue where Blue League is going. And
you also can't dismiss Brody King, because if things go his way, he could advance.
Well, this is the thing. With the exception of Daniel Garcia, the Blue League is set up that anyone can go through at this point, with Kingston fighting from behind. But in order for that to be possible, Brody King's 2 big wins at the beginning of the tournament suddenly don't mean anything, because he then loses 3 to stay on 6. The draw that C-Boss wants to see so badly could conceivably be Danielson Claudio. But
I forgot about Claudio.
the blue league could be anybody's, but it's so higgledy-piggledy. And what I would like to see happen would involve the booking for everyone else to kind of then suddenly shit the bed. It's like, well, Brody King's been an absolute killer, and then suddenly doesn't win anything. It's very intriguing where Blue League is going. I honestly can't call it, but I will stop waffling and hand over.
I don't think Kingston's making it to the pay-per-view. I don't see there being room for that. Like you said, he's nursing his back. He needs time out. There's just no reason for him anymore. And he's one of my favorite wrestlers right now. I would love to see him win this, but
well, this is what I'm saying. He actually
I don't think it's happening.
he gets to the pay-per-view and loses the J. So
I don't think he's making it to the pay-per-view. Yeah. I don't think he's making out of the Blue League personally. And as much as Danielson and Jay White's a great match, I don't think that should happen either. You covered it pretty well with the Blue League being a very big toss-up at this point. My vote from the start was Brody King. And I think that's a long shot at this point, though. Andrade probably is going to have something going on with Miro, so no point in putting the titles on him.
Well, yeah,
Garcia's out. So
yeah, we've been saying for a while that the very second that Andrade is eliminated from the tournament, Miro is charging the ring and breaking Andrade's fingers in retribution.
Yeah.
What he has allowed to happen to CJ.
I think the finals for the Blue is going to come down to Kingston and Danielson. Kingston's not beating Danielson.
Not
That's
clean.
just my opinion. Not clean. Absolutely not clean. No. And he 100% is top 3 of my favorite wrestlers right now on AEW. I still don't think he's winning.
Can I hold 2 more minutes and just throw this out there for consideration? I don't think I think Eddie Kingston's current presentation at AEW is actually doing him a disservice now. I honestly think he should be portrayed a lot bigger than he actually is. I mean, the guy is the guy's a double champion.
Who cares?
Everybody else except for you.
Everybody else.
He beat Kenta of all people for the openweight championship in Japan. He beat Claudio of all people for the Ring of Honor title
and got his respect.
And got his respect, which is a big story beat for from the Shikara shit, as Mox put it. He was booked very favorably in the G1. He shouldn't be at this point in time. He shouldn't be losing to the brittle clam digger. The guy has got one arm and one eye, and he was still booked to go over Eddie Kingston. It's like
he's AEW Superman.
Yeah, it's getting mildly frustrating now that at this point in time, Eddie Kingston is still doing the underdog routine that just about comes up short.
Danielson's going to be losing a lot of matches this next year, as it is his final. He's going to be putting a lot of people over. It's what he's always done. I think he needs to get his flowers in this match, though. I think he's going on to at least be in the finals, blue versus gold. And I agree, Kingston needs some little better booking, but it's not right now.
I'm going to take this into a slightly different direction, although still on topic. And you guys might get upset with me. And just a disclaimer, I've never seen a G1 or anything like that, so I can't make those comparisons. But at first I was excited about this tournament, but throughout it, I kind of lost interest in it. And not because I'm upset with the booking or anything. I actually think the booking makes a lot of sense on both sides. What I'm upset about, and I had a little bit of a conversation with Wolf about this earlier today, but the inconsistencies in the rules and basically everything around this tournament. From the first day, they basically made a big deal that no managers, no nothing. Jay Lethal comes out all alone. He looks behind him. They make a big deal that his crew is not with him because they're not allowed. He has his match. 20 minutes later, Roosh has the match in a tournament, comes out with his with his managers. Everybody goes to the ring with him. They wave the Mexican flag. No mention that managers are not allowed. Of course, they leave afterwards, but they made such a big deal that Lethal's guys can't even come out with him. Yet all the other guys have their managers come out. That rubbed me the wrong way. I know that's kind of nitpicking, but I like attention to detail. And they said absolutely no cheating. And from day one, I asked, okay, who is keeping track of this? Because in reality, nobody should be cheating. Any match, there should be no cheating, right? But they cheat anyways. But in this one, it's super strict. And I always said, okay, is Tony? I'm assuming Tony Khan is watching this because they said if you cheat, you get suspended or fired or whatever they said. So Tony Khan must be watching this. So there's been no cheating until yesterday when Jay White cheats. And I understand why he does it. He's backed into a corner. He did whatever it takes to win. But at the end of the day, he cheated. And the excuse is that the ref didn't see it. So basically, it's not more strict. It's the exact same thing. So just inconsistencies like that kind of made me lose interest in the tournament. And for example, I love football, European football, soccer. I love the World Cup. Every time the finals end, I can't wait till the next one. Immediately, I want the next one right away. With this tournament, it's coming to an end, and I'm not excited about seeing it again. I probably will be in a year's time, but right now, I'm not really feeling like I want to see this again anytime soon.
I gotta chime in. I'm gonna take this one first.
Go
So I gotta break this down to just pro wrestling history. The role of the referee is of the officiant. This is all a show. We're watching a show. The Tony Khan puts the trust in the referees to do the job the way that they're supposed to. You know, the cheating thing, it's going to happen. How many matches have we seen in the history of pro wrestling where someone was supposed to not cheat? And, oh, there's a steel chair. Like, look at Eddie Guerrero's shtick. How many times did he go over cheating, lying, scamming, referee's back is turned? That is pro wrestling. Now, my argument against my own statement would be Shibata versus Wheeler Yuta. He had a whole panel of people scoring, grading, and reffing the match, sitting on stage that saw him cheat, and no one stepped up and said, "Oh, you cheated. This is a pure match. That's why we're here, is to make sure that shit doesn't happen." So yeah, you're right in saying that there are inconsistencies, but I think that the Mox cheated, wasn't put out. Jay White cheated, wasn't put out. They've used barriers. They've used the steel steps. We've had almost countouts. I mean, none of these things were caught because the officiant didn't caught it. It was passed. I don't want that to be an exception because it is always consistently inconsistent. In this matter in AEW, you are not wrong. So my input, I don't want to, we've already talked this to death. LaFuron, you know, I would love to see Eddie and Jay. Your point on Jay, and I wanted it to be Jay, but I never thought about it in the manner of, well, if he holds that Japanese title, he's going to have to go over there and defend it in Japan after getting kicked out of Japan. That's a pretty cool angle. That makes that a little more enticing for me as a New Japan fan as well. Jim Ross should have been on commentary. Oh, son of a bitch, that bastard. Yeah.
Hey, Jim Ross is about to get back.
Yeah. Hey, Jim Ross and Triple H. That son of a bitch. That son of a bitch.
Why the hell?
Why?
That's why. Yeah, you guys got anything else on the C2?
I do want to kind of counter something that Dreezy said. The first instance of cheating was Jay White, but it was not against Moxley. It was against Roosh. He hit him with a low blow in his opening C2 match.
Oh, I forgot about that. But now that you bring it up, you're right. Yeah.
And yes, Moxley did cheat to beat Swerve. He pinned him in a way where his shoulders were off the mat, but the referee couldn't see it.
And you could tell that was a planned thing because Taz was even talking about it afterwards. But it wasn't just that part of it, C-Boss. It was also that Moxley was grabbing the tights, which I know a lot of wrestlers do that. But I don't know. maybe it's just because I've gotten so invested in Swerve lately, but that was what really drove me nuts.
Yeah.
Um,
And
Well,
also,
it did its job then.
yeah.
Yeah.
And also, I do
That's
think
the-
Brody
that is the
King
entire
could
point.
reach. I do think Brody King could reach 9 points on Saturday. He is facing Daniel. He's facing Daniel Garcia, right?
Yeah.
Could be a
Yeah, but
freebie.
yeah, man, it could be a
It's
freebie for
most likely a
Garcia.
freebie. Oh yeah, don't underestimate Daniel Garcia. He could
I'm-
get his first points on the board.
I
I
think
mean,
they're going to book Garcia pretty heavy coming up soon here.
Yeah,
They
I mean, like
should.
Yeah.
he needs a redemption arc,
Hopefully,
and
'cause
he
Yes,
was
he
his-
does.
His
Yeah.
win-loss record is in the gutter right now.
He's a fantastic
Uh,
wrestler. He's a great personality. I'd like to see him do much better.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he
that's
started.
that's why I'm confused about like Jay White being in the tournament makes sense. Roosh being in the tournament makes sense. Swerve being in the tournament makes sense. Moxley being in the tournament makes sense. Eddie, of course, because he's defending his title. Danielson, Claudio, Brody King. But then I look at Mark. Okay, I'll excuse Mark Briscoe on this one, but I look at Jay Lethal and Daniel Garcia, and I'm like, what was the point of putting the two of them in this tournament? That's not to discredit like their wrestling capabilities, because I've seen
Well-
what Jay Lethal can do in an AEW ring.
Well, Jay
He's-
Lethal's a multi-time Ring of Honor champion.
Yeah, he has made it clear that he wants that Ring of Honor belt back, and he will be willing to go for it at any cost.
I don't agree with their booking in the tournament, either of them, but they're both in the middle, or at least starting, of a singles run. In my Garcia absolutely just got out of the whole Jericho situation. Jay Lethal, they made it pretty clear that he's tired of his group. He's tired of living in their coattails. He's going to be on a singles run, I believe. You know, you touched on that earlier, and I agree 100%. He should go on a singles run. So them both being in this tournament makes sense. I don't like that they're both squashed, though.
It just
Yeah.
doesn't. I don't mind either of them being in the tournament. It just didn't make sense. If that makes sense.
I
Yeah,
mean,
I guess.
we still got. I mean, you can't deny that the matches weren't all bangers. All of them were. There was substance. There was something to take away from every single C2 match that we saw. And I get it. You know, the fandom is always going to be divided on this thing. Got to treat it for what it is. At least we got something good out of it. Good wrestling. So,
Yep.
Yeah, staying with
And we've got
AEW.
great stories coming out as well. So
Oh
It's
yeah,
also been noted that people like Kenny Omega, for instance, turn it down. So you got to fill someone.
Right.
Mhm.
C-Boss, I got one last question for you. What
Right.
did you think of Roosh's performance in the tournament?
Roosh
Yes.
surprised me quite a bit. I've
In what
never
way?
seen Roosh in actual like singles competition. So seeing him perform in the C2, I thought it was like really surprising that this man can go on a singles thing. He could go do his thing without LFI.
bro. I'm about to go send you some videos of him in Ring of Honor. Y'all need to get educated. Staying with AEW.
I've watched a lot of it recently.
Yes,
Yeah.
I've most of my backlog is Ring of Honor this month. But staying with AEW, we've got a lot of news and on screen from MJF as of yesterday. This week, Maxwell Jacob Friedman accepted the honor of being inducted into the National Jewish Sports Hall of Fame, both for his contributions to professional wrestling as a Jewish entertainer and his hands-on work for the Stop Jewish Hate Blue Box movement on social media. He was one of the top talents in the Jewish community to contribute to that and push it. Then we got absolutely killer promos and segments from the champ last night. Want to highlight the Swerve promo as we're saving the devil
God.
for the next topic. And to wrap it up, MJF claims that he hasn't put pen to paper yet on his AEW contract, which, all of these big things under the AEW banner, and we don't even know if he's going to be on our television screens next year, maybe after January the 1st. Rollins, what do you got on this one, man?
Well, first of all, I want to say about the Jewish Hall of Fame stuff. That personally means a lot to me because I'm also Jewish, so I'm more.
Shalom.
I'm more like that. Makes me a little bit of a bigger fan of MJF personally. So, like, I'm really enjoying what he's doing. Not only, with his in-ring work and his promo work, but he's tying finding ways to tie his Jewish heritage into his storylines. Most of them are subtle ways, but I still like that he's finding ways to include those in some way or fashion. But when they finally did the backstage promo between Swerve Strickland and MJF, I lost my mind. I'm like, finally, this is a match I think me and many other AEW fans have been waiting for. Can you imagine the promo battles between these two? We got a little taste of it last night. They were talking about their car rides and stuff, and Swerve talking about, oh yeah, I got great naps, during our car rides and stuff. And I'm like, oh my God, this is great. My favorite part of that promo battle, though, was MJF doing Swerve Strickland's theme or entrance music. Swerve, Swerve. The way he did that was
He nailed it too.
Exactly.
Rollins, what was better? MJF hitting his entrance music, or Jay White doing the dance at the end?
That was hilarious too.
Yeah, that one was funny.
Carry on.
But yeah, I'm not sure what to make of his promo battle with Samoa Joe. It didn't really get me more interested in their match at World's End, because I'm just kind of mid about that match anyway, because I think there's a lot more intriguing opponents for MJF down the line, i.e. a rematch with Adam Cole, maybe a feud with Hangman Adam Page. C-Boss, I know you don't like Hangman, but we're not going to touch that. Swerve Strickland. There's a lot of opponents coming for MJF, so I'm like, I don't love this.
What has Hangman done to put himself back in the title picture? Seriously, what has he done? Name one thing he has done.
He drank
ass
he
beat.
drank Swerve Strickland's blood.
He breathes.
That doesn't. He still lost that match. But
I think
do
his
wanna
his
highlight-
mere existence qualifies him to be perpetual top line.
Go read
Well,
his children's books. They're
What did Jay
captivating.
White do? What did
I
Samoa
like him,
Joe
actually.
do?
Jay White.
Jay
Jay White
White
stole
exists.
the belt.
That's
And-
not a reason for a title match.
I mean,
Are-
Max had to get it back some way.
Yeah, he goes to
Hold on.
the top.
I'll put,
They just
put that
go-
bottom comment up.
He says,
There we go.
"Excuse me." He says, he knocks at the door and
Just
says,
give him a
"Tony
new
Khan,
belt."
fucking Mark, can you make me a new belt, please? Because this New Japan reject, this tofu motherfucker, has just stolen mine." That's that's what you normally do. But
And
no,
then
you
with the
got to
Samoa
fight
Joe
backstage.
With the Samoa Joe thing, it's Samoa Joe. He should be getting a world title shot. He looks like a main eventer.
Well, Hangman is Hangman, so that's why he's getting
You
his
can
title
make the
shot.
same argument for Hangman. Like Hangman's
Hangman's
doesn't look
actually
like-
a former AW World Champion, so
I find
And-
it mildly amusing that Seaboss as a self-confessed unapologetic CM Punk fan doesn't like
Kingston.
two performers who are possibly the most layered characters in the business right now. Punk, who has driven a career on storytelling, he doesn't like Hangman and Eddie, who are two of the best storytellers in AEW. It makes
My
me chuckle.
reason for not liking Eddie has nothing to do with CM Punk. It's just his in-ring work is terrible. He cannot wrestle whatsoever.
Lies.
I'm sorry, but chops and spinning back fists is not wrestling.
Chop
T-Bone.
battles is what
coming-
AEW
coming-
is built on now.
Coming from the guy who said at the top of the stream he's a big Japanese wrestling fan, you don't like the AJPW Kings Road style. Seems slightly
Eddie
contradictory,
Kingston
my love.
doesn't make his wrestling compelling. It's like every time I see him in the ring, it's just can this guy take the pin and lose already? And as the promo thing, a lot of you guys say he's a good talker. I don't know who the heck you're talking about, because every time Eddie Kingston gets on a mic, it sounds like gibberish to me. I cannot understand a word he says. He sounds drunker than Hangman.
You just got to learn the street language.
All right,
Yeah,
let's
there you go.
get back to MJF.
Yes, let's
Yeah.
get back to an actual good wrestler.
Whoa,
MJF.
whoa, whoa!
You're a Punk fan and you don't like Kingston. I hate to see your taste in women.
Oh boy. Anyway, let's get.
Well, I mean,
let's get.
if we're talking about my favorite women's wrestler, it's Hikaru Shida.
Fair.
right.
But back to
Yeah,
MJF.
wrap it up.
He did fantastic with his promos yesterday. Him and Joe actually make quite a compelling duo, kinda. Their bounce off of each other was interesting. It was like, you know, Joe starting to suspect MJF. MJF is kind of like, man, every time the Devils come after me or Hangman or who else, where were you? And it's kind of fueling that further mystery. And then, of course, they got attacked by like a legion of mask goons, which
It's the Dark
that's a
Order
whole
Reapers.
other can of worms. We're
So
not going to open
stupid.
that yet. But of course, there was another. And then we get to the backstage segment with MJF and Swerve, and that was golden. That was
Yeah.
probably segment of the night, in my opinion.
Hell yeah.
And then Prince Nana pulls Swerve back in to talk about what happened on Collision with
Keith
Keith
Lee.
Lee. I do think we are going to get that feud finally.
I think that match is straight up happening at World's End, and Swerve Strickland should absolutely destroy Keith Lee.
What?
He should pin him. He shouldn't destroy him, though.
Have you do you know who Keith Lee is, Josh?
Okay, I go by Rollins on this show, Mr. C Boss.
Look, man, I needed to call you out specifically because do
Using
you
it.
think Keith Lee is some jobber? No, that man is one of the greatest professional wrestlers on planet Earth when used correctly, and should not be destroyed by Swerve. They should absolutely destroy each other, yes, but it should not be a one-sided affair. All right, LaFuron, take us home.
There's still two after me. I'm not taking anyone home. I'm just going to swerve while I drive this one.
This episode's gonna go till Christmas.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Wait, Andre, is that a bad thing though?
In
Maybe.
Your
Yeah.
retention.
Do I have to make the obvious statement to Rollins? Does that really matter to you, bud? Holiday, you're
Brent
celebrating.
can tag in for me while I'm at work for 6 hours tomorrow.
broad brushstrokes?
Shame on you. I'm taking your dreidels. Moving on to LaFuron.
Yeah. Broad
Well,
brushstrokes.
You can't
Congratulations to
take my
MJF.
dreidels because I'm gonna be on an airplane tomorrow. So
Oh,
screw
honest.
you.
Yeah, congratulations to MJF for his induction. You know, well deserved. I can't remember who the interviewer was, but I remember fairly recently, it's sometime halfway through this year, he was having an interview talking about you know, his faith and his representation of his faith, and who he is, and he freely admits he likes baiting the anti-Semites. So I'm all for much more doing more overly Jew stuff on AEW TV just to piss the twats off. Be loving it. He every single day. I mean, I've said MJF is not a generational talent yet, but every day he gets closer. He is truly fantastic. I wasn't super keen on the out and out face run at first because I'm not an Adam Cole guy. I don't really. I mean, I enjoyed the Adam Cole and Roddy skits, but I wasn't too keen on the Berchachos thing. Especially as I felt it hijacked the World Championship a little. But it is what it is. You know, wrestling is a is a smorgasbord of fun. You know, you can't love everything, but as time's gone on and MJF has taken a more serious edge to the face run. You know, he's
Not
not.
Adam Copeland.
You know, he's not. it doesn't feel quite as disingenuous anymore. I mean, that was the point to begin with, but now that it's not, it's all good. This is probably something more for Devil segment, but I'm enjoying MJF and Joe's chemistry together. I think they're really great on screen. It's nice to see that MJF is truly not afraid of Joe and he's not ducking him now. It plays very well into the more serious babyface edge. But the only thing that I would say is I don't like the prison bitch angle they took to get them together, because again, this is more for the devil thing, but at what point really is MJF ever looked truly in peril in order to need Joe's protection? That one struck me as a little bit weird, but no, for the most part, MJF is absolutely killing it. He deserves absolutely everything. And there is absolutely no way in the world he is not re-signed right now. I guarantee you that he re-signed shortly after after the ding dong, was it Double or Nothing? Everything got signed. Everything was all settled. He's on top line money in a top line company. I genuinely see, nobody expected AEW to explode the way it did. As a result, I don't think anyone expected MJF to grow at the same pace as the company. So we find ourselves in a situation where MJF is the face of a massive company and he's not getting paid accordingly. And he's going to have a bugbear. I genuinely believe that was a legit grievance. But honestly, if anyone thinks the conversations were more than, Tony, you need to fucking pay me more, because we are in unexpected waters. And Tony goes, yeah, you're right. I'll sign you for we'll do a couple of year extension and I'll put you on 7 figures. If anyone thinks the conversations were more complicated than that, I think they're reading too many dirt sheets, to be honest. Because there's absolutely no way in the world you're allowing a disgruntled employee to pull the "fire me, you fucking Mark" promo in front of the Warner executives. That alone, in my mind, proves that he re-signed back then. But we'll see. And the bidding war is going to be. The bidding war is still going to be on. I think.
Now that it's been reported, it's going to be run as an angle. His very WWE.
Oh yeah, it was always going to be an angle, but I think that's still very much a thing. But I'm going to pass on to Bill.
Yep.
I don't think it matters if the contract's signed yet or not. He has it in hand. He's not going anywhere. Yeah. He's not leaving. Bit of a spin on it, though. I think his right now, him and Joe, MJF and Joe, reminds me a lot of 2007, 2008 when Joe and Rhino in TNA, they had the same type of chemistry. And I'm hoping for a match just as good, too. Two big guys just beating the shit out of each other, basically. Should be really fun.
Yeah, since I'm going last on this subject, I hope you don't mind if I kind of combine it with the next one. Hopefully it'll be a decent segue for you, Shane. But
we'll do that.
Yeah, I'm very happy for MJF with the whole Jewish Hall of Fame thing. I'm sure he's really proud of himself, and his family is too, as they all should be. As far as on screen, I love the guy. I love everything he does. The wrestling, the comedy, the serious promos, everything is working for me. And this might be a hot take, but this devil stuff is probably one of my all-time favorite storylines in wrestling. I'm just so invested in it. And I love whodunit movies. Who's typing? It's like really loud.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Faulconer's over there trying to type everything you're saying right now, Andre.
I didn't realize it's picking up that hard. I'm sorry.
No, it's all good.
Better than the breathing on the last one.
Andre, be careful. Faulconer might use this on you later.
Go ahead, Andre. Carry on.
Yeah,
Sir.
he's tracking my IP address right now. But anyways, I love whodunit murder mysteries, and this feels like it every single week. we're all online just talking about this devil every single week. We're trying to guess who it is, who it's not. And I just love that. I love how the storyline plays through the whole episode. Basically, you had the kingdom hanging up the little papers all over around the ring, like blaming that MJF is the devil and stuff like that. It's a nonstop running theme, and I really like that, and I'm really intrigued. And I honestly can't say if MJF is gonna stay or not. I can only hope and guess. This storyline is so deep and intertwined with like half the roster. See how I'm really into the storyline. I'm dropping my mic and everything.
Technical
Really passionate.
difficulties.
Yeah, we have so many guys involved in this, and it would just we have 2 weeks left, or less than 2 weeks until MGF's contracts ends, and there's no way that they're just gonna completely drop everything. So there has to be some kind of agreement, even if it's like by appearance. There has to be some kind of prolonged agreement after World's End for MJF, or at least I hope.
Well, I want to, my chime in is, congratulations as well to MJF. Community representation is huge, and trust me, right now that's needed more than ever. And a beautiful sentiment that advocates for people in very terrible situations. He's an absolutely fantastic and almost generational talent, according to LaFuron.
He
Well,
creeps closer every day.
I actually I wanted to agree with that statement, but I wanted to be funny, which I'm not really doing that good of a job of today. So we expected the Devil's presence at Dynamite this week. We got it in the form of a segment with MJF and Samoa Joe, where a dozen goons in black all ran out to pay the champ and the wannabe champ a little visit. We also had appearances from the four main goons, all donning sweaters with devil masks printed on the back. Lights cut to black. We get the devil on the big screen and a written challenge to MJF for his ROH tag titles, with the pair of MJF and Joe respectively taking the challenge. Will we see a devil reveal next week on Dynamite?
No.
Next week, no.
No?
You gotta save it for the pay-per-view.
So my theory is that I have two theories. One is more fantasy booking. So we get the match next week. Two guys in a devil mask. They take down Joe and MJF, and they drop the titles. They pull the masks off. Now we know who those people are. Is that going to bridge us into who the devil is going to be, or they lose the match and they're demasked? And then, we're looking for the other three people. There are 5 core guys. We can assume that everyone that didn't have the devil mask printed on the back of their jackets are hired goons. And we could also assume that whoever hired them has the money and the means to do so. That kind of takes a couple people off of the board in terms of who we wanted the devil to be.
You're too poor to be the devil.
What was the greatest trick the devil ever played? Just to be fair, I don't think maybe the money might not be a thing, but that opens up possibilities for other people in the locker room and in AEW that are actively employed with AEW. Rollins, what do you think about this?
I think it would have been cool if they had made that a stipulation where if we lose the title or if we win, you guys have to demask, or if you guys win, I don't know what MJF and Samoa Joe would have to do in that case, but it would have been nice to have some type of stipulation like you were talking about, Shane. But I still think the devil is Adam Cole. I've pretty much felt that way from the beginning. The only thing that makes it a little more confusing, though, is the devil making a challenge for the ROH Tag Team Championships, because the ROH Tag Team Champions right now are Adam Cole and MJF. So why would Adam Cole make a challenge for the ROH Tag Team Championships? That's the part where it gets a little murky for me, but I still believe it's Adam Cole.
I mean, he could be putting over his partners. He could be the devil could be multiple people. The devil could be all 5 of them.
That's what I've been thinking recently. I think the devil is maybe it's not one person. Maybe the devil is just a symbol, like an anti-MJF symbol. And all 5 of these guys are the devil, or however many guys there are in there. That's actually been a theory of mine for the past week or so. So that's a good point.
Yeah. With this whole devil thing, I'm interested to see where it goes. But the fact that there were like what, at least 20 just randos.
There was like 6 or 7 of them, definitely. Yeah,
Yeah.
they
And
looked really
then,
small too.
yeah, it kind of reminded me of when the Dark Order had those little masked
Oh, the
goons.
minions, yeah.
Yeah. Kind of reminded me of
Creepers, yeah.
Oh, the
that.
creepers.
John
yeah.
Silver, John
creepers,
Silver
yeah.
actually posted that on Twitter. So, oh, that's where the Dark Order creepers went.
But I'm really interested to see. And Rollins, to go to your point, is like if Joe and MJF lose, what do they have to give up? The ROH tag titles.
The belts.
I know, but it's like this. I'm talking about like if there's a stipulation that if the mask
Title
keep-
versus mask.
Oh,
It literally that match was it's a match similar to what Rey Mysterio and Eddie Guerrero had to go through at was that 97 Halloween Havoc. Title versus mask. LaFuron.
Honestly, I'm just riding the wave now. As far as the devil angle goes, theories, fantasy booking is never, how things always turn out. We'll just have to see. I honestly thought at the beginning it was fairly cut and dry. It was Adam Cole was not under the devil mask, but Adam Cole is pulling the strings. Roddy and OGK give Adam Cole plausible deniability by doing the original attack. But then Better Than You Baby exploded beyond, I think anyone had any right to think it would. And it's like, well, we can't do that now. We can't really have Adam Cole turn on MJF because they've been so over for so long as this. Why are we gonna split them up anytime soon? Think of the merch money. So I think there was already a pivot going on at that point. But then Cole broke his ankle. Who knows if that's at work or not, or how badly injured it is, because that's been dragging on a little bit now. So I'm inclined to think it was actually legit. But then there's pivoting going on there. Before everything went down, I am going to bring his name up, Shane. Sorry. There was a big There was a big theory going around that the devil was in fact CM Punk. I didn't subscribe to that personally, despite all the fantasy booking I've done for the guy over the past 16 months, because I didn't feel it was a big enough angle for a CM Punk return, to be honest. And now I feel it's kind of starting to drag just a little. We're not getting enough. We're not getting enough substance with this. It's just like wishy-washy 2-minute segments of Joe looking like he's going to be attacked by ninjas TNA style, and then nothing happens. And then Joe starts being investigating of his own. Then we get like a little bit of devil clip and then text. It's not moving fast enough for me. There's no real meat involved at the moment. So I'm just intrigued to see where it goes. The fantasy booking that I have personally would be that it's actually been MJF this entire time. Because going back to what I said, in the previous segment, at what point really has MJF ever looked to be in peril by any of this? And he's got no reason to be afraid of Joe because he's already beaten Joe. MJF has beaten everyone.
not Swerve.
Not Wardlow.
Well, Wardlow's nonsense in this has been infuriating and hilarious in equal measure. But I personally would like to see MJF do one last shout out to one of his childhood heroes, do a full-on 2005 Ring of Honor CM Punk heel turn, and then redo the Money in the Bank walkout at the end of the year. as the devil. Do the almost word for word, do the entire this is my theater, you are my puppets, I pull your strings. You believed every word I said, to fully play back into the greatest trick the devil pulled was convincing the world he didn't exist. Then do a money in the bank walkout to start the bidding war of 2024. That's just me. It will be interesting to see if what does come from it, and I'm open to anything at this point, but I want something meaty soon, if I'm honest.
I mean, what's meatier than them dropping the ROH tag titles next week to Devil, anyone that's the Devil. Bill, what do you
Well,
think about? Yeah, go
I
ahead.
want the ROH tag titles back on Ring of Honor, frankly.
Yeah, that's
Mhm.
that. I think everyone here agrees with that sentiment. Bill, what do you got on this?
I stand by that. I think World's End is a play on words. I think it's MGF's end of Worlds. I think he's going to lose everything. He's dropping the titles with Joe. He's dropping the title to Joe. He's going to lose his best friend. I would love to see the Pinnacle come back, but I think it's anti-MJF this time. I think MJF's going to be set up after World's End to look like he has nothing left.
I actually have
Go
a
from
question about this storyline. So we're seeing more and more people get attacked backstage, and none of them are trying to figure out who the devil is. Like Jay White, he was the first one that got attacked. He blamed MJF for a couple of weeks, and then he just forgot about it. I feel like he should be on the hunt too, trying to figure out who it is. He doesn't necessarily have to help MJF, but I feel like his character should want to know who this is and want some kind of revenge. Same with Hangman. I know that the Claims recently had a promo, I think on Collision maybe. Anthony Bowens said he wants to get to the bottom of this, so that's kind of headed in the right direction. But I want to see more of these guys try to figure out who this is.
Well, I honestly think this once this particular chapter of the Devil Saga is concluded, by whatever means, I think this could actually usher in a bigger, almost Civil War style arc. In that, once the devil has been revealed, exactly as you say, there are people who are going to want revenge. So let's say the devil is not MJF. It is somebody else. Well, straight away, Jay White and Bullet Club Gold are going to be like, okay, so you were the motherfuckers who attacked us. We are coming for you for revenge. The Acclaimed are going to go, we got done in protecting MJF. Okay, well, we want to get our pound of flesh back. Everyone, I mean, MJF is going to want to properly have a go. Hangman is now going to want to get some revenge. So, depending on who the devil is revealed to be, could well be symbolic, as you've said. I've thought that myself the past couple of weeks. There are multiple devils because it's an ideology at this point. Well, take that to a step further then. Set up a devil ideology wanting to, end the world, be it MJF's world or bigger than that, and you have an unlikely union of everyone who's been directly affected by the devil banding together to all have a crack. There could well be some big stuff coming from it. Because as you say, you have at the very least collateral damage in the wake of directly targeting MJF, and for them just to run and go, nah,
Yeah.
they are all going to want to have a slice of the action once the devil is revealed.
Mhm.
And in the same way, and it could likely end up being a complete mirror of what we have now. MJF right now is beset at all sides. He's made enemies of the entire roster. He's not friends with Joe. Joe is in it for himself. MJF is alone. Well, once the devil is revealed, you flip it on its head, and then the target of everyone's violent affections is the devil. Yes, and the devil and that ideology, that crew has to hold off against the entirety of AEW. That'd be pretty big going into their 5th year.
So let
Yeah.
me ask the group a general question. If we end up revealing the devil at World's End, do you do it during the match of Samoa Joe versus MJF, or do you do it after the match between Samoa Joe and MJF?
That depends.
After.
That depends entirely on who the devil is, what part they have to play in all of this, and whether MJF is losing or not.
I think
Yeah.
likely mid-match, but I don't have an opinion on what side here.
The perfect image in my head is the devil getting revealed, and the pay-per-view just ends, and we go online and we freak out, and then we celebrate New Year's, and then we tune into Dynamite to see what happens next. That's
first-
my ideal.
That first Dynamite of 2024 is going to be on my birthday.
Nice.
It's Vincent K. McMahon.
But
It was
It
me
was
all
me,
along.
MJF. It was me all along.
I do want to bring this
JR,
up.
son of a bitch.
I do want to bring this up. Like,
It's Triple H.
in the Discord server and online and stuff, we've all been saying the big muscular person in the devil group is Wardlow. Why are we just eliminating Brian Cage, though? Like,
Because he wasn't tall enough.
They have
No,
different
Brian
body
Cage is-
shapes.
Much bigger.
Yeah. There's
I
only,
mean,
there's only one guy the exact size and almost the exact shape of Wardlow, and that's Lance Archer.
To be
Luchasaurus.
honest, and Luchasaurus.
And that.
But this thing that
yeah.
Luchasaurus is really like lanky.
Don't
Yeah,
you mean
he's
But he does the
thinner
head
than
tilt.
Wardlow.
Yeah.
He's a lot thinner than Wardlow.
yeah, but
Don't
this
you
thing
mean
when that
Kill
TK put out-
Switch?
No, we mean Luchasaurus because Kill Switch is idiotic.
Yeah.
Kill
Um,
Switch is the finisher Christian Cage uses. We call him Luchasaurus here.
Fair enough. But I had to
as
bring up.
opposed to Vibora, his government name.
Hey, I had to
um,
bring up Brian Cage though, because
Yeah, but
we saw the backstage segment. One of the devil masks was in front of the Mogul Embassy locker room, and we know
Well,
Brian Cage is
blatant
part.
plant.
Yeah, it's
My
just
friend,
right,
my
yeah.
friend, you have discovered a red herring.
I mean-
Trophy
I mean,
unlocked.
That
Trophy unlocked. Red
That
herring.
statement that TK put out saying
That's actually a good point by
saying,
Wolf.
"Oh no! Everyone who's been presenting, who's been on TV under the masks, yeah, they're the people. They're the people who are going to be revealed." I'm like, that's the lamest work you've ever done, Tony.
Yeah.
Are you honestly telling me that Dustin Rhodes is one of the goons? Because that segment when they all came out and they held MJF down, the guy on the far right
Oh,
was blatantly Dustin Rhodes.
we
You could tell
talked
by-
about that.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
could tell
it is
by- you could tell-
blatant.
You could tell by the shape of the head, by the shape of the nose, by how the ears came through. The jawline. Like one of these. It's flabby jawline. The stature. It was Dustin Rhodes.
Yeah, he also-
he threw on some tights for the spot for the segment. There's no way. Ultimately, you could kayfabe it at the end. That's the entire point. But right now, which is why I still think things are still being finalized. The goons are whoever has got 5 minutes in the back to throw some trues on and go and get out there.
I want to point something out very quick on this subject. There was a promo by Wardlow this past Wednesday, which I thought was pretty good. Did you guys catch that he kept saying we are coming
Yeah.
for you, MJF?
Yeah.
Who exactly
I
is we?
did.
That's
So-
kind of cool.
The entire locker room basically.
Yeah.
It's like we want revenge. We are coming to you. What are you, Venom?
Yeah, that could be a
Did you get
re-signing.
a symbiote?
That could be a re-signing angle if he does drop the belt. It could be, hey, we're coming from you. No way, this is my fucking company. It was my fucking belt. There's no way I'm letting you ingrates take this from me. That would be he could slide full into becoming a full-blown heel again. People are going to put eyes on the product regardless of what direction it heads in anyways.
Here's a
Might be.
stupid idea. MJF goes to WWE and half of AEW's roster goes with him to go after him.
No,
I
dude.
mean-
It's like Wardlow shows
I'm
up
joking.
at WWE and randomly squashes Cody on his way to finding
No.
MJF.
No,
Oh,
they
no.
roll up.
Oh no,
They roll.
no.
They roll up to the venue in a tank with white blood.
A Jeep with some PVC pipe on it, please.
A white and gold tank.
All right, guys. I'm gonna rein this one back in.
I
What
hope
we're gonna
all
do-
wrong.
Yeah, we're gonna do one more segment. We're gonna do two more segments and quick ones. We're gonna go over release talent, but not the whole list. I'm gonna let you guys pick who you want to talk about, and then we'll do the roll up. So we all know 15 plus talents were released from WWE, and no complete causes ran out today as of noon. Lots of big names on that list. Lots of people already started working, not signed. Before you even start, Rollins, because I looked that up before we came to this conversation.
Oh my
But
god.
well, lots of big big names on that list. Where do you guys think some of these people are going? What we're going to do for this is we're going to limit our responses to one or two talents, and if someone calls yours, don't double down unless you're bringing something different to the table or expanding on that thought. So I have one, Mustafa Ali. I think his best placement would be in AEW or New Japan. My guess is the latter, which I think he'd do really good for himself in Japan, just given his ring style and in-ring work. I think he'd be fantastic placement for them. So, Rollins, who do you got?
I'm gonna go with the former Dolph Ziggler, now Nick Nemeth. I think he's gonna join his brother in AEW. It makes too much sense.
Nick Nemeth, Ryan Nemeth's contract with AEW is up in March. Hasn't resigned.
Yeah, it's
Spin
still
that.
early.
Spin that out. So, a lot of these people are signing early. Boss, who do you got?
So I was gonna do Mustafa Ali because I just saw on Instagram that he announced a 2024 World Tour with these shows.
Yeah, good. And Osprey was booked all the way through April of this year in like 4 or 5 different promotions, and he signed with AEW.
Yeah.
I know I'm being if I'm the person I did. So just to give you guys the last three some context, earlier today, Rollins and I got into a little bit of a spat over
Oh, God.
over Matt Riddle. 15 minutes after he was in free agency, announcing that he was going to work with MLW and the legitimacy of a contract, and I literally dug into every single person on that free agency list to make sure I fucking knew what
The
we had.
Enzo Amore treatment.
Well, yeah, that was the argument I made with,
Yeah.
and I ended up being right. They MLW
I
signed.
hate you.
Yeah, MLW. I'm not trying to
A
squash, dude.
working
It's
relationship, not a contract.
yeah, but MLW said they had a contract with him. He
Ah,
wasn't
of
getting
course.
paid, and then he wasn't getting paid
With
contract
Enzo,
Oh,
money.
yes.
that was Enzo.
Yeah.
We're
Enzo was in the right on that one. He went.
Oh,
the
absolutely.
problem with that is he did full him, which made him look like an asshole. He turned into an asshole because they fucked up and he didn't get his way in the back end. So it was a mixture. So, but yeah, Mustafa Ali is great. You got anything else?
I was actually gonna talk about Dana Brooke. So she's a Cleveland girl, so I like her. I think the best fit for her right now would be to go to TNA. Because TNA has the strongest women's division in wrestling, and she would slot right in there.
I'm scared for Deanna Purrazzo leaving. I would hate to see her defect to AEW right now because I agree with that statement. TNA has a fantastic women's division.
The second top is NXT.
NXT's women's division is fairly close because they actually schedule their women to wrestle. LaFuron, what do you got?
Nothing really on the list strikes me as of particular interest, really. I mean, what's Shelton Benjamin going to do?
Be old.
Yeah.
Retire.
B's Jay Lethal substitute.
Basically, yeah.
Shelton could go to TNA. That could be okay. It might be quite fun to see maximum male models move over to Ring of Honor, get into a feud with Dalton Castle and the boys. That could be fun.
Get in the feud with the Outrunners. There's lots of ways.
Yeah.
That could be real. I mean, that would be great. There are a lot of ways they could spin that. So
Yeah. So that could be kind of fun. I noticed that Elias has been released, but Ezekiel's still in. So that's
Yeah.
at least
Yeah,
that's how they bring him back to the Fed. We
Do
didn't
it.
release your brother.
do a Rick Rude moment where Ezekiel appears on Raw at the same time Elias appears on some other streaming thing. That'd be quite funny.
They're the same. I swear they're the same guy. Bill, hit us.
Now you mentioned Elias. That's my hope. I will hope he lands in AEW. I don't think he will, but I want to. I want to see that.
That'd be fun.
I did not think any of you guys were gonna say Elias because that was my boy right there.
I like his character.
Well, just to not be repetitive, I mean, those are everyone that you mentioned are the only guys I'm personally interested in. I don't really care about anyone else on the list. So, I'm just gonna double down on Elias because actually never seen an Elias match, but I love him as a character. I've seen a lot of like his segments and stuff, including live, and he's just awesome. I actually met him at a bar too. He's really awesome, and I don't know how well he would fit AEW, but AEW is the only wrestling I watch, so that's why I want him there.
Top Dollar's on that list, by the way, and he made his
Dollar.
he made his GCW debut today, attacking Joey Janela after Joey
He's fucking
Janela.
garbage, man.
Who wants to fight Joey Janela? He could go after the Florida
Hey.
man. Let's go.
Joey Janela, Kenny Omega. Don't ever forget.
Dude, that dark match was that's top 10 in AEW. That match ripped.
Yeah.
So Janela was a beast before he leaned into the wild man portion of his character, and now he's for clout. And I wish him well. I've seen him plenty in the Indies, plenty enough to satiate my need for any more Joey Janela on my eyelids. You guys have anything else before we move into the roll up? Nope. No. All right. So we're going to do the last segment of the day. It is the roll up. It's where we're going to open up the board to the panel. Anything you guys want to discuss, any statements you want to make. Same thing we do every Tuesday and Thursday. I have a statement for the team. So, like, seriously, guys, it was a cool year to be a professional wrestling fan, regardless of where you are in life, what holiday you celebrate around this time, or if at all, or what promotion you prefer to intake. Just be good to each other and have a safe fucking holiday, you know? Focus on your families. Don't worry about the little things, that everything always ends up falling into place. Just, this is the time of the year, to not be a dick. And I know that's something I always advocate. So there's enough craziness in the world for wrestling fans to be so divided. Let's just take a page out of Japan's book and be happy to work together, and also fuck CM Punk.
I'd rather not.
Isn't that AJ Lee's job?
Oh God!
Oh, no, we're not. Dude, I don't.
No,
sorry.
CM Punk is seemingly fucking anything above the age of 25.
no, we're
Oh,
not
poor
going
Jade.
there. No, we're not going there. Swerve Strickland needs to be AEW World Champion by the end of next year. That he needs to be. No disrespect to Will Ospreay, because I'm sure he's going to do great things in AEW. But Swerve Strickland is on another level right now, and he needs to be the AEW World Champion. If it were up to me, he's the one that dethrones MJF, but we can discuss that on a different day.
I like that.
Yeah.
I do. I think Ospreay is going to take the international title and defend it internationally. I would go one step further to say that I think Ospreay could start collecting international titles and be the world's international champion. Boss, what do you got? Unless anyone wants to expand on that thought.
Well,
Belt Collector 2. Ospreay and Jay White were Kenny Omega's handpicked successors as the number one gaijin in New Japan. Jay White came over to AEW. Ospreay has now come over to AEW. Why not be Kenny's handpicked successors in AEW now, especially as there's a very real possibility he's done. So pass the torch, cement Ospreay as Belt Collector 2, and take the international, then go around the world with the international represented the way it should have been from the very beginning, the international advertising belt. But Ospreay is going to be all over the world still. Strap him up and go and hold titles everywhere he goes.
Boss, what do you got?
I just want to talk about something that's been on my mind today in wrestling. Is I want to talk about why are people so, or what makes the AEW women's division so lackluster? Is it booking? Is it character work? Is it the wrestlers themselves? Because if you look at AEW's women's rosters, there's a lot of very talented wrestlers on there, but not a lot of them have character, and they're only on TV like what, 4 times a week? Collision's been getting two women's matches, so that's been pretty good. But Dynamite's still only getting one, and Rampage is lucky to even get one.
I'll tell you exactly what it is. Right here, right now, Tony Khan, and let me repeat the joke from Tuesday, putting the Danhausen isms through. Tony Elite, right now, is still beholden to his paymasters in Warner. As a result, he is booking by the minute-to-minute metrics that get him ratings. That is why Orange Cassidy, still more often than not, will open a Dynamite, because he pops a rating each and every time. For better or for worse, for reasons real or imagined, traditionally, the women tank the ratings. Don't know what it is. It could be a number of reasons, but the women tank the ratings. If the Warner metrics are even vaguely representative of the Nielsen ones that get leaked and waved in people's faces as why AEW is dying, then the women segments tank. That's why. What Tony Elite needs to do is hand over the booking of the women to Tony Honor, who absolutely loves the women, because Ring of Honor is a predominantly women's show. And spoiler alert for anyone who's not watching Ring of Honor right now, the women have their own TV title now in Ring of Honor. Tony Khan loves the women. He seemingly doesn't have the balls to show it on AEW TV. I mean, this entire timeless Tony Storm gimmick and the All About Eve parody that they're doing as the angle to introduce Mariah May. That was all Tony Khan's idea. Why would somebody who apparently, according to the IWC, hates women's wrestling, hates the women, spend all that time with booking Ring of Honor the way he does, invest the time with Tony Storm? I genuinely believe it's Tony Khan is beholden to his paymasters, and he doesn't have the balls right now to book away from his minute-by-minute ratings. What he needs to do is suck it up and give it a go. Now, whether he does that before renewals of rights or once a big deal has been secured and he feels a little bit more secure that he's not going to get kicked off the tubes, then he just needs to do it. Just go out there and see what happens. It might be a bit cliche, but do a tie-in for International Women's Day or something, and just do a solid 5 hours of AEW a week for that week is all women, or just put a lot, just break the mold. Stop giving them the dead zone piss break match before the before the main event. If there's any women's championship on the line on a Dynamite, then stick with your booking philosophy, Tony, and in that a championship defense is the marquee event. So you main event Dynamite or Collision with the women's defense, regardless of what other angles are going on. Just take the risk, book differently, book the women more in the way that you do with Ring of Honor, and see what happens. And if the ratings still dip for that 1 week, then you do it again, because it could well be, just an immediate backlash from fans that need to be retrained, because there's still this talk about, the monopoly we have for so long with WWE has conditioned the American fan base to not like women's wrestling and just see them as, as talentless objects. So there's going to be a certain degree of retraining involved, but buck the trends, and for a couple of weeks, maybe 3 weeks, give the women a lot more prominence, and then see what happens to the numbers. If the numbers are still down, if the numbers are still bad, then at least then there is substance to then actually discuss and to see if you can actually, make a direction. Until that happens, no one's ever really going to know. TK needs to stop booking by his numbers. and just give it a crack and see what happens.
I mean, it goes without saying that's one of the AEW lifelongs. People that have been with the company since day one all make the same argument. What happened to the program that we were brought into first? When he was taking that risks is when we got the best product for the company. But LaFuron, did you have something that you wanted to add to the roll up?
Honestly, no. I work better bouncing off everyone else, and I won't go into my tirade about the international title.
Save it for next week. We still got you for another week, bud.
Yeah.
Bill, go ahead, speak to me.
Just two short things. I'm really excited for more MJF and Swerve. Their promos are going to kill it. They're going to be phenomenal. And fuck the Young Bucks.
Fuck the Young Bucks.
Fuck the Young Bucks.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Dre, bring us home, brother.
I got 3 points. All right. Oh, actually, this is very relevant because my first point is, for God's sake, please push my boy Penta just a little bit. Just give him a little bit of a push. Penta equals ratings. My second point is I'm very thankful for meeting you guys this year through the power of the internet, and I really enjoyed talking to you about wrestling. And not only that, but in our Discord, we talk about movies, video games, music. It's nice to have like-minded people to talk to about various topics. And third is December can be very challenging for people, especially December. It can be mentally challenging, can be depressing. And I just want to encourage everyone to please seek help if you need it. Don't be ashamed of it. Please see a therapist if you can. I've been seeing one for the past 3 months, and actually my therapist inspired me to reach out to someone I had a falling out with 2 years ago, and I met up with them last night, and we repaired our friendship. So
Awesome, dude.
that kind of stuff
Nice.
can really be life-changing. So if you guys are struggling at any moment in life, not just December, seek help, and you won't regret it. That's my message of the night.
Well, this could be very well our last podcast until next Thursday, depending contingent on the holiday. Dre, that was absolutely beautiful. So we have that to carry us off. I couldn't think of a better send off. I do want to thank the panel for joining us today and giving us your time. Our community runs purely on volunteers, and I say our because it is not my community or Rollins. It belongs to everyone that comes to our Discord server. Happy to announce that we do now have an active and growing Discord. If it's something you'd like to be involved in, it's in the description box below. I'm not going to be that guy and tell you to smack the subscribe button. If you want to listen to us travel on, please come and join us on Tuesday and Thursdays, possibly on Fridays, depending on everyone's free time. So with that, I bid adieu. Thank you everyone for showing up, and happy holidays to those that are celebrating it. Take care.
And good night, bang.
There we go.
Get well soon, Kenny Omega. Get well
Yeah.
soon.
Justice for Dana Brooke.